thing that you love to do is probably where you should focus your energy and your time, and it probably will reward you immensely. Who would have thought that I could make a living using my voice as an actor? I never thought that I would, and before I knew it, I was traveling all over the country. Had to get a passport because I was going out of the country, doing all these different things, and they pay you ridiculous money, to do those things. And I have found that I'm the same guy. I'm the same guy that was building sets in the back of my school, not really knowing what I was doing, but applying my passion, the thing that I love to do. And yeah, there were consequences, and there were roadblocks, and there were naysayers, and like even today, the state of the world today. How do you feel about the world today? Does it interrupt you from pursuing your dreams? Is it a drag to think about the state that the country is in, the division that exists? Does that make you feel like, well, what's the point? Do you have a sense of, well, people aren't honest? Nobody. They don't tell you the truth. Everyone's out for themselves. And who can I tell the truth to? Who can I share my dreams and thoughts with? Is there anybody? Can I say what I really think to my parents? Can I tell my best friend how I really feel? To my best friend, can I tell them what I really feel about what they said to me that hurt my feelings? But they don't know it. Do I share that with them? What, you would?
Yep.
How many friends you got?
I can't count.
You got a lot of them?
Yep.
You got a lot of friends.
I don't know how to be true with it.
Oh, there's a difference.
Yeah.
Okay, so is there a difference between the truth and facts?
No.
No. Oh, yeah, yes.
Okay,
Yes.
okay. Speak on that.
Well, the truth, I don't know.
That's honest.
The truth, okay, facts are facts, so, yeah, but the truth might not be facts.
Do we understand that? That truth and facts don't necessarily go hand in hand. And this is really relevant to a conversation about career and what you want to do. Because we get messed up because of the facts, and we get off course of the truth. The truth is your passion, the thing that you really love, that you may not be able to tell anybody, that no one may not understand. People may not understand the truth of what you really love and what you really want to do, and you may not have the ability to articulate that. I can't explain how I feel, but that's the truth. Like, it could be a fact that I could say, I played in the NBA Finals and scored 70 points in the final game. That's a fact, I said it. It's a fact that I said it. It's not true that I did. That make sense? Okay, so there's a lot of facts, but is that true? Someone says, you're not worth anything, you'll never amount to anything. That could be a fact that they said that. But the thing that makes it true is you believing it. You may even feel like I don't have a lot of value, but you may know that you do. And I would probably suggest that most of you are in that category. You know you have intrinsic worth and value and power in you, and that you were made, created special. You know this, but you probably at times feel that you are not special because of your circumstance, because of your situation, because of your zip code, because of something your mother did, your father did, something you said, because something someone else said about you. So why is this relevant? Because these are the things that keep you from pursuing your passion. Have you ever felt like quitting school?
Yes.
And what would be, I don't know, and what would be the alternative?
Get a job.
Get a job. And how much money could you make on a job? How oldest one here is what? 15?
No,
It's okay.
we're going to Colorado.
Was it?
Colorado, good spot fishing guy, get paid like 50,000 a year. Ooh.
That's good.
That's not
Yeah, that's not a lot.
For just
For
me,
his age, yes.
for just me.
And
I
then
go to
what?
college out there.
50,000. Doing what? Being a fishing guy?
I like fishing.
You have to have a license or be accredited, or how do you show up and say, I'm a fishing guy,
No,
you need 50K.
no.
Well, how does that work?
I work with one.
Fly shop. How do you get the job in the fly shop?
My dad's from one, he said he'll give me.
So you got connections. So you quit school, dad hooked me up. Okay, son, I'm gonna hook you up, but you gotta do this and this and this. I don't wanna do this, this and this. You want me to hook you up? You gotta do this, this and this. Got it? Yes, sir. Yes, sir. And then you go to what he says. I'm telling you, my first audio job, voiceover job, have you heard of a man named James Earl Jones?
Yeah.
He was Darth Vader,
Yeah.
you know, there was an account that people wanted him to do a commercial. And James Earl Jones wanted $90,000 to do this 30-second commercial. He wouldn't do it. Someone called me, they said, I hear you sound like James Earl Jones. We listened to your demo, and we would like you to do this commercial. And he said, thing that I told you, Mr. Jones would not do the commercial because he wanted $90,000. We can't afford that. So, will you do it? I said, sure, what are you gonna pay me? $300. Okay, now I'm young, I'm in college, I'm 20, 21. And I said, and I don't know the business. I said, $300? So wait a minute, you're gonna give James Earl Jones, I'm on the phone, talking to people in California. You're gonna give James Earl Jones $90,000 and you want me to do it because you think I sound like him and you want me to do it for $300? I said, yeah. You don't have any experience.
That's not even enough for your plane ticket to fly.
Well, you know, when you do a voiceover, you don't have to actually go there.
Oh, shit.
You know, I can do voiceover from my house now, which I do, or I can do the voiceover from here from my phone. Technology is amazing. So anyway, the thing that happens is I'm just like, no. He said, well, what do you want? I said, 30,000. Hello? Hello? We got disconnected. They hung up on me. So, I don't care. A day goes by, phone rings. We've been thinking, and we want to make you another offer. I was like, oh, great. $600. I said, okay, I got a counter offer. You're not gonna say 30,000, are you? I said, no. 40,000. Hello? Hello? We get disconnected. True story. Another day goes by. They call back. This guy was prepared to give you $1,000. I said, I want 60,000. You know what they said? Okay. We'll send you the script. I said, okay. I hung up. I thought that was normal. It was not normal. I was operating based on what I feel. Sometimes our feelings get in the way of what we know. The heart needs control. And in this case, it worked to my advantage. Because I wasn't smart enough to know that there was no way they were supposed to pay you that kind of money. And the only reason I asked for more is that they told me that 90,000 was the mark that James Earl Jones wanted. And they said, you sound like James Earl Jones. This is CNN. Luke, I'm your father. You know, they thought that I sounded like him, so maybe I can't compete with James Earl, but I compare to him. And I knew that on my own. In my gut, I knew that. Even though they said, you can't do that. You're not worth that. And if I had heard someone say, nobody makes that kind of money coming out of the box, 60,000 for a 30-second spot. If someone had told me that and I believed it, I would have never continued. Subsequently, I started getting jobs that people wouldn't do. Sean Connery, who did James Bond, Medicine Man, and a series of movies. They wanted him to do something for Tree USA. And he wouldn't do it because there wasn't enough money in it. So I did. And they paid me, I think, $30,000 to do 5 spots that finish in a half hour. That was the annual account. Every year, did that account for 30 years. A half hour sitting in front of a microphone, drinking coffee, chewing chocolate. Sometimes I throw my sunglasses on because it made me feel good to have sunglasses on in a dark studio. There are pictures of me doing it. I said, why do you do that? I said, because it's kind of fun. You ever watch wrestling? Yeah. Of course you do. Remember TNA? I was the voice of TNA, which they did a lot of crazy commercials that I didn't like, but they paid really well. I went back to my alma mater to do theater at Tennessee State, who told me I would never amount to anything because I refused to go through the loops and hoops. But I love theater. I love telling stories. The power of your story is the thing that separates you from your destiny and where you are right now. The power of your story. And the first thing is to read your story. And even though the narrative may be, the facts may be you're in a bad situation, that may be a fact. The fact may be that you don't have money, opportunity, or connections, that may be a fact. But the truth is, the thing that's deposited in you, that's in your DNA, beyond that, in your spirit, in your soul, in your gut, the thing that God created you to do, cannot be denied. But that's what I think. I didn't read that in a book. I wasn't taught that in a class. I discovered that on my own through real experiences. I'm not that smart. It was very fortunate for me to be able to have the opportunities that I've had. I've messed up so much stuff. I mean, who can identify? You're sophomores.
Yeah.
You'll have plenty of opportunity to mess up a lot of things. And friends, wow, man, we got a lot of friends, but you know what made it, you said a distinction that made a lot of sense. You said true friends. Okay, I'll call you my friend, and we friends, but I can't trust you with everything. I can't tell you everything. How many people can you tell what you really think? You know? What you really think, what you really feel, and what you really
I listen
believe.
to everybody what I really feel. Okay.
Do you?
Yes, I do.
What does that mean you don't care?
Like, I would let them know, it was not affecting me at all.
Oh, yeah, that's good, that's a good point. And we're gonna close up on this thing. I don't care what they think. I don't care what they feel. I don't care what they believe. I'm gonna tell you what I think, what I feel. But I mean, I'm not judging. I'm just saying, let me ask you a question. Imagine for a moment that there are 3 candles at the front of the room. One represents the present, one the past, and one the future. Let's say that's the past. This is the present, and that's the future. Which candle burns the brightest? The future? If you believe the future burns the brightest, raise your hand. If you believe the present burns the brightest, raise your hand. If you believe the past burns the brightest, raise your hand. If you don't care, raise your hand. If you didn't raise your hand, raise your hand. Okay. That covers the basis. So if more people said that, how many were the present? Present? How many? How many were the future? It's like a tie. Present again? Future? I think the present wins. So in a democratic society, we will stay with the present and we'll get rid of the future. We'll blot out the past. Does that work? So we kind of need the present, the future, and the past. But you can't focus on all 3 at the same time. Any thoughts on that? So where is this going? Which is more important? They all are important. And the point is, you will make mistakes. You can't live in the present focused on the past. Because you'll mess up your present and deny your future. But you can't live in the present and ignore the past. Difference, focusing on the past versus ignoring the past. Like you may say, this United States is a facade. They say all men are created equal, and it's not true. That may be a fact. But the ideal is the great thing. The thing that you reach for that you'll never be able to get. But your hand will always be in the air reaching. You'll constantly be reaching for something you'll never be able to obtain, like freedom and justice and democracy. Ideals. That a lot of people say, well, that's gobbledygook. It doesn't matter what you feel, what's real. And I will say to you, your feelings are the realest thing that you possess. Your real thoughts, your real feelings, your real beliefs. And I would say to you that they are very different, your thoughts and your feelings. Do we understand objective, subjective? What does it mean to be objective? Or accept the difference between the two? What is that? And do you make decisions based on what take you further? I like that you speak out. You're a leader, right? Sort of. Okay. You lead from how you feel. Or do you lead from what you think? Or the combination? Oh, okay, so that's good. So the subjective leader will be inside of the situation and subjected to the situation and say, I'm experiencing this situation. I'm standing here and observing this young man with his head down, sleeping, relaxing, chilling. He reminds me of my son, sleeping. I remember my father waking me up one day saying, son, he had that Mustafa thing too. Son, today is the day. Today you will wake up and hold your head high. You will be an honor to your parents. You will be the greatest student at Hillwood High School. Only raise your head. Raise your head, son. You can do it. You can do it. That smile. So, subjective means I got inside the situation. I didn't just objectively say, why is your head down? Raise your head. Why are you just acting like the world doesn't matter? That's being objective. You're in a classroom, you gotta act like students. You're gonna be students. Students study. That's what makes them students. If you're not a student, pretend to be one. Act like one. That's being objective. Those are the rules. But subjective is I get inside of the situation and become related. So, today is the day. What's your name, man? Marie.
Malik.
Oh, Malik. All right, so any questions for me about career or about me? I do a lot of stuff. Yes, sir.
How much money did you make last year?
That's not.
Are you with the IRS?
No.
Good question. Let me answer it this way. I've worked for me all my life. Even when I had state jobs, I worked at Tennessee State, my alma mater, for 12 years. And my sensibility was, I still work for me. I don't work for you. And when I got a job that required me to go out of town, because I would make more money in 2 days than the university would pay me in a year, I said, what do? Do I stay at the university? I can't go. We won't fire you if you leave. See you, gotta bounce. And then I come back, the job will still be there, but they'd be mad. You know you shouldn't do that. Well, you know, you can dock me, you can fire me. But I have family. So how much money did I make last year? It's really relevant. It's like when you wake up in the morning, you say, well, I want something I can depend on. What is that? What can you depend on? I would maintain you can't even depend on yourself sometimes. So if you get a job, you go, you punch a clock, or you show up, you make the money, and you hate the job. Would you go because they pay you? I don't have that problem. But the problem could arise, what if no one hires you? What's next? Like there's always something on my plate. Always something. I'm doing a production at Woolworth downtown. You know what Woolworth is? Historic Woolworth, back in 1960, there were demonstrations there, sit-ins, because African Americans couldn't eat there. You couldn't even have a cup of coffee there. They have renovated it. And I'm doing a production every month called The Big Idea, which is talking about equality and talking about real diversity, which is not about skin color. Real diversity is about ideas. And the idea that a woman can make as much as a man. The idea that a black person can be a president, that a woman can be president. Diversity of ideas. That a woman can run a company. That an 18-year-old can become the governor. That an 18-year-old can become the mayor. That a 25-year-old can become the president, because that's the age limit for president. So that's what I'm doing, and they pay me to do that. And then I'm doing a production called Stand, which is about homelessness. I have an affinity for the homeless, and I portray a homeless man named Johnny. And we're raising money and awareness about the plight of the homeless. And they pay me to do that. And I travel all over. I get to be these interesting characters, get to change my voice. My character Johnny, he talks like this. You know. How you doing? I live next to the trash can. They make good money. What's your name?
Let me tell you my name.
You don't have to, but what's your name? Deshaun tried to get it because it earns good. But I said, Deshaun's got hepatitis. Problem solved. And I get to have a lot of fun, and this particular character, based on a real person, you can imagine doing something that allows you to play, to have fun, to enjoy, to laugh. True story. Being an actor is the one job that I've been able to do, the only job I've ever been able to do that allowed me to be myself. Acting? Yeah. Because if you're an accountant, you get to be an accountant. It's not about what you think, what you feel, what you believe. But as an actor, if I'm playing Macbeth, it's about what I think, feel, and believe, about the words that I memorize and speak on stage. If I'm playing Othello, it's about what I think, feel, and believe about the words that I memorize, the character of Othello. And I get to articulate that and express that. Her father loved me, often invited me. I love Shakespeare. And I love goofy stuff. And I get to be goofy. I get to be serious. I get to be very angry and allow the anger that I really feel to be articulated through a character that I'm playing on stage. And people will say, oh, that was a good play. What they don't know is I wasn't playing. When you saw me articulating my anger, I was really angry. When you saw me on stage crying, I was really crying. But doesn't that mess your head up? Say, no, it makes me feel better. You know, out of all the roles I played, the character that I love the most is father. And I probably have made the most mistakes as a father than anything else. And that's the thing I care the most about, being a father, being a son. My son used to think I lived at the airport. I remember when he was 2, he'd be in the car driving. He'd point out the window, there's Daddy's house, pointing at the airport. I said, son, that is not your father's house. That's where we take you. That's where we're going now. That's where you go with your things. Daddy's house. My son really believed I lived at the airport. I said, I don't live at the airport. I live with you. He said, no, you don't. That broke my heart. And I almost quit entertainment. I almost quit being in plays, doing movies and TV, because it kept me away from my son, and my daughters, and my family. But I didn't quit. Today, my son is 24, 26, 28. 28. And today he knows his father doesn't live at the airport. but he knows the sacrifice he has had to make just to be my son. And I know all too well the sacrifice I've had to make just to be his father, and that's what I care about the most, not acting. I don't care about people clapping their hands after I finish. I don't even really care about them giving me a check. Because what I'm doing here today, I'm not asking for any money. And Dobby, you know what they pay. You know, it's about what's in your heart. Protect that.
Let me throw this in here real quick. Two things. I'm gonna say this one. I used to go to his mailbox. I get mad because he had residual checks. If you don't know what a residual check is, that's after you do work. They keep paying you. And he had already done the job, but they still paying him. They send the work over to China, and he get a check because they send it to China. They send it to Japan. He get a check because they. I'm like, really?
Yeah.
But also, I will speak to the sacrifice because he was working a regular 9 to 5, and he left a secure job that paid him every other week or something like that, and it's good money. But what he does now is what he wanted to do. So if he's telling you something about what's in your heart, he's not telling you something because he read that in a book. He's telling you because that's what he did. But just like that little saying my sophomores are supposed to kind of be following is, what's the cost of failure, or the cost of pride, or even the cost of success? And I tried to say it costs something. Nothing is free. And he can tell you now there are things that you do, like with his son. You know, there's a cost because his son said, I think my daddy's house is an airport. What? Yeah. So anyway, I just want to.
Yeah. How much time do we have?
Just maybe a couple of more minutes.
What Mr. Dobbins said about everything costs something, even your will isn't free. They call it free will. But there's a consequence and a reaction to all decisions that you make. And I would suggest that the fuel that you really need to get to your passion. I'm telling you something that no one will tell you. Your preacher won't tell you. Your mama won't tell you. Well, they might. Your grandma might tell you. The fuel for your success is your failure. Every incredible person who's ever been successful is successful because they stand on a mountain of failures. And the thing that society teaches you to do, that your friends will tell you, cover up your failure. You pretend it didn't happen, or you blame someone else. And the people who are successful, they analyze the failure. How did I fail? They have an open mindset, and they say, okay, I see. Let me make some adjustments. And try again. And if that didn't work, let me make some more adjustments. You can't just do the same thing over and over expecting a different result. That's called insanity. That's a clinical definition for insanity. Doing the same thing over and over and expecting a different result. On the shoulders of your failure, you will succeed. Embrace your failures. Embrace your betrayals. Embrace your hard times. Embrace your disappointments. Don't wallow in them. Embrace your anger. Don't wave it like a banner. Embrace it, understand it, be truthful. The fact is you're angry. The truth is there's a reason why. And it's probably rooted in pain and disappointment. And when you don't need mama, daddy, friends, psychiatrists, anybody to validate that for you. Amen, sister. Any closing thoughts, questions? You got any money you want to give me?
What?
You heard that? Anybody want some money?
Yeah, I want some.
Yes.
Anybody raised their hand? They didn't raise their hand the last time. Hey, he's awake now. Hey, is that for money? Hey, yeah. So I wish you well. You know, Mr. Dobbins is a good man. He's a real good man. You know, there's not a lot that he could ask me that I wouldn't do because, you know, real friendship doesn't require someone to scratch your back. He didn't have to scratch my back to be my friend. He's my friend just because he's my friend. And we don't have to be connected at the hip and say, we are one. No, we're two. He thinks what he thinks, I think what I believe. Oh, and a little tip for the married people gonna get married one day. You don't wanna become one with a person. That sounds nice, it's very romantic and poetic. You're always gonna be two. You and them. This is when you try to become one. It's a romantic idea, but it really doesn't work. I've learned that through trial and error, through the failures of my experience. Mr. Thompson, thanks for having me today.
Thank you, sir.